One Trick, and just like that, almost on cue, it's going to be a very quick little scuffle into the jungle. Heal being forced out by Zaxia.
That was not how they wanted to start this. And you talk about the early game aggression. Well, it looks like it is actually One Trick being collapsed upon here. And maybe look to snipe this out here. No, not even go for that. God sort of just wandering around aimlessly right there. He's very much threatened by this harsh invade coming in from the side of One Trick right now. And it looks like Upsla is going to look to go and do this, but they are very late to this party right now. This rotation is so slow from them. They will actually find the red buff, but they're very much so behind to start this out. And really, overall, though, I have to say, this was just what One Trick needed to do here to start this game. They needed to come out swinging against Upsla. They needed to show that, hey, we are a force to be reckoned with here, and I like what they're doing to start this off.
Flowery had an uncontested might buff steal, which is extremely important for the earlier stages of the game, because what does that do? That lack of knowledge coming out of One Trick is going to allow him to retreat to his jungle and be able to create that much more of an allure of where he might be, which will force the members of One Trick to play a little bit more cautiously. That passive being done up by Virtue. Gonna do just enough to put off Bruticus, but nice little flash away there. Always green, not able to connect, and so a little bit of a fancy footwork as the Ryoma gets away safely.
That was sick. That was a nice little flicker coming out there from the Ryoma. It is now Zell finding 3 members of the side of Upsla in the river here. Make that 4 as they immediately delete the bug. Squishity squash, get the can of raid out, and that is going to be Cricknack falling here, and that is our first blood here. But we do still see a nice little, pretty even still in terms of gold as One Trick and Upsla going toe-to-toe here in game number 1.
I like the ability of neither one of these teams to decide to back off. We're at the 2-minute mark, which means Abyssal Dragon is going to be on the menu for both of them, but which one decides to take the fight is yet to be seen. Dual Spirals charges up to try to give himself a little bit of extra damage. Flowery, in the meanwhile, is forced to have to go onto the back line. Andy God and the rest of Upsla decide to back off, but Zelf is able to get the revenge kill on that Cricknack. Andy God's going to try to duck, dodge, dive away. The heal will come out by Zaxia. They help him out as well as the double knockup, so they'll walk out alive, but they lose the life of God.
How did he live there? L'Oreal, that was absolutely insane, that play coming out. The heal perfectly timed there from the Thane. It is going to be the Abyssal Dragon going over the way of One Trick here, but that is exactly what One Trick needed to do. They needed to come out here. They found that Preda damage to start things off. And we're seeing it here once again. Flowery chasing this down, though. He's going to look to go in, but he's able to get himself right back out. That is the power, the mobility of the Maraud here. And really, I have no idea why Upsla continued to take that fight, considering they had heroes at less than half health to start things off.
Not every fight are you going to have the ability to get away safely in the nick of time, the way that they did indeed. And so now, as we take a look at what we have on a little bit of a reset here, we're just over 3 minutes. 500 gold is in favor. Make that 300 gold in One Trick, so near negligible at this point, and we're going to have to see where are these roams of God going to happen, because we know he's strong in the side lane, we know he's able to duel efficiently against the Wonder Woman, but he's going to have to be capable of rotating up in some of these early game skirmishes.
That's going to be huge here for him, and we're going to see how the teams opt to rotate around in the jungle here and rotate 2 to the bot lane. We see the side of One Trick now looking towards this bottom lane here, and that is the lasso in onto God. Able to get himself out of there, though. A nice little escape there, baiting out a lot of resources, and all the while, we have a counter initiation going up here to the top lane onto Bruticus. The charge back, the follow-up, the temporal turbulence, taking him down. A terrible fate there for the side of One Trick. So nice little rotation from Upsla.
And so the 4-man dive is going to come down from One Trick, and they're going to have to force God to back off, as he is not going to be able to be at the stage where he can take down a turret. A nice little recovery from the side of Upsla. They're going to be able to secure themselves a top lane tier 1, but greater numbers benefits the bold, as One Trick has 4 members on the bottom side of the map. That forces Andy God to pop the ultimate to jump down to defend, but as a result, Valor's going to get a nice little lasso in. Zelf will be able to pick up the kill immediately. Great skill shot by the Wonder Woman.
That was sick, forcing out the Endure to dodge. Oh, that was crazy. The perfect timing on that as well. The lasso, massive. I mean, you saw the confidence of the L'Oreal being like, I got smite, I can find an entire 1v4, I don't care, let's do this. And theoretically, yes, you can. But that pick was actually huge. A slightly overconfident play from Upsla now opens up the map. The Abyssal Dragon, we talked about this, wanting to open up this side of the map to start things off. Losing that tower, losing so much control, and that was the side of Team Upsla, and that is the second dragon going the way of One Trick.
Zaxia is going to get himself caught up. He is a very tanky Thane, so I don't think he's going to go down just immediately. Although he's able to have to be forced to use the heal talent. Meanwhile, the other members of Upsla are going to join the fray. Andy God's going to try to duck, dodge, and dive, but again, again. Another lasso lands. He is a hootin' tootin' rodeo fool right now. Wonder Woman being able to pick themselves up another kill for the One Trick team.
That was crazy. Once again, L'Oreal feeling way too confident. And now Verche, though, stepping up way too far as Flowery's going to go in here, try and recover this, not able to pick up the kill as well. And that is Upsla just making mistakes. This is just not something there, and I have to give so many props to One Trick. They are capitalizing on every single one. This is exactly what they needed to be doing here, and it is now basically, it's only a 1K goal game, but it feels so much different.
And it's one thing to criticize individuals when they make a miscalculation to decide to go in, but a lot of these instances, you take a look back, and there was no reason for Andy God to dive into these fights. That blink does not have a short cooldown if you're not able to hit the other members as a result. 7-6 second cooldowns in the earlier stages of the game, so they have to be careful on wherever he's going. Finding himself 1-2-1, only just now completing Orb of the Magi. Zaxia getting caught out yet again, and it's crowd control after crowd control, knock up into death. The Warrior falls as One Trick have established themselves a very hearty 1,000 gold lead.
That is a solid lead indeed. Thane just blowing his cooldowns in the mid lane, trying to get some pressure on, not realizing the entire enemy team was just sitting in a bush, but now the pressure is going in here onto the Darkslayer. Flowery getting a lot of health taken off to start this fight as God and crew are going in, fighting Bruticus as well. There's Zennial, though, coming into the backline, denying a lot of this aggression, but it is the target now. Zelf, they're trying to take him down. Can they find the quick attack? He's going to walk out. Whoopar, they need to take him down. Yes, nice done there. Darkslayer is going to be reset here. This team is looking to split as well, and Flowery and crew are looking to go in, but they're splitting themselves up a lot here as Verche is getting very low. Jump, that's the kill.
Dual Spirals being able to pick that out, but he's not done just yet. However, he has a massive amount of a hill to climb because two members of Upsla were on the face of that dragon. The wings have been clipped. He goes down. The lasso from Valor finally misses as God and Andy God are going to try to get themselves up onto Bruticus. He has just a little bit of a shield, but they're going to pop the heal and help themselves up just a little bit. The ultimate's going to come out from the Maraud, but it's not going to be enough. The cavalry has joined them.
The cavalry has arrived, but it is Upsla still staying in the jungle, still feeling confident here, trying to snipe out the red buff. They are able to do so. Flowery is going to secure himself that. And we talk about the Maraud. In the right hands, this hero is an absolute menace. And the side of One Trick is feeling it right now. But it is dead even in terms of gold. The tower is fairly similar as well. What a match we've got on our hands.
2-0-3, Flowery is sitting on that Maraud, so he's still sitting at a solid KDA and is going to be able to scale up appropriately, but what is he going to lose in the process? However, the losses are not too irrecoverable for Upsla. The third Abyssal Dragon, however, does go down into the favor of One Trick, though despite the objectives that they're securing in that neutral monster, they do find themselves only up 400 gold.
That's actually huge there for the side of One Trick. The fact that they are not farther ahead considering how much they have found on the map. And also, speaking a lot to Upsla, just not being there for that, not contesting that. And again, we talk about the idea of having some unforced errors there. That's potentially an error. Oh, Verche maybe looking to try and survive here. The Malleus is there trying to survive under the tower. Bruticus not able to secure this kill, but Zelf is going to go back in. The drone drop is going to find it there. Nicely done. And we are seeing Bruticus going back in under here, but Flowery has found the bug. The quick knack will fall again. The Darkslayer is still alive through all this, trading out 1-for-1. Both of these teams just playing so aggressive, but they're paying for it with their lives.
It is neither one of these teams are backing off. We talked about how they needed to make sure that they didn't background, they standed their ground, and they made sure to dig in their heels and go on the aggressive. Valor will find himself in a rough spot, forces out the ultimate. Dual Spirals, though, being able to pick up the kill. Zaxia, too late. You cannot defend if your teammates are dead. Back and forth. This is a high-intensity game we have upon us.
What a great initiation there, and that what a great follow-up there. Once again, here we go. Zaxia forced to charge himself out of there as well. Talk about aggression. The Wonder Woman lining up exactly knowing where Maraud was going to reset off of that, getting that amazing stun to lock him down as well, finding his first death there. That was actually huge. And Andy God and crew taking so much damage from this Preda. They're just not respecting it, and these skill shots are hitting time and time again.
Now, I will credit Andy God for the fact of ensuring that despite the early kills that the early deaths that he had, has still been able to farm himself up appropriately, is only 100 gold down, but the onslaught continues. Dual Spiral picks himself up yet another kill on the top side of the map. One Trick keeps coming to the top side of the map. This should be a disclaimer, a bright neon billboard to Upsla saying that they need to make sure that they have the reaction from the team. But meanwhile, as a result, it does look like Upsla will continue this split push. They're going to secure themselves 2 turrets on the bottom side of the map, but look at what they're losing in the process.
Look at what they're losing indeed. It's shown that One Trick doesn't care about diving towers. They will do it all day long. Upsla keeps having this weird perception when they think, I can survive under here, I'm gonna be fine, but no. One Trick is showing exactly how far they can push their composition, and now they're gonna use that to rotate onto that Dark Slayer. One Trick securing this here with a nice hefty lead coming their way now. A 2 to almost 3K gold lead here going into this mid game. This is solid for them, and a lot of this is coming down to, I think, just a lack of communication from Upsla. All 4 members of One Trick will be missing.
They don't know what they're doing. They're going in and around the map saying, do we need to rotate here? Do we need to rotate there? You can see the maneuvering on the mini-map. We might not be able to see every single member on your screen, but you can see the back and forth posturing that they're trying to create. No one has a clear decision on where they want to go, but that's the exact opposite for the sides of One Trick. They secured themselves 4 turrets. Zelf and Bruticus will find themselves rotating to the mid lane. That's going to be the tier 2 there. 1 more turret is left on the inner circle, which will mean the high ground turrets is all but left for the side of One Trick.
It's all that is left indeed. One Trick is going off right now in the mid game. Their 4-man rotations, as I said, diving towers with impunity. They are feeling confident in their play at this point. But Upsla, they do have a chance to recover here. They do have a decent scaling composition, but I love the fact that One Trick denying all of these jungle minions. Don't give Murad even one little opportunity to come back in that
God
regard.
has had an opportunity to acquire some resources in the side lane. They've essentially let him split push for, by and large, the first 12 minutes of the game as he's just now joining the fray. They have a decent amount of wave clear as well. Flowery, Andy God being able to create themselves a little bit of wave clear, and so One Trick is going to have to be forced to dive. You can see the ultimate coming out of Always Green. Flowery's going to try to dive to the back line. Is it going to be enough? No! Valor will end up taking him down. Zaxia, in the meanwhile, will be able to pick himself up a kill onto Zelf. The members of Upsla are doing a great job at kiting back into the fight. Dual Spiles is trying to get as much damage as he can, forced to flicker away, but the members of Upsla...
Oh man, Andy God surviving through that when he just should not have. That's the play he's been trying to do all game long. That looked like an amazing fight for One Trick. I thought they had that in the bag, but they didn't quite get the tower down. And all the while, Andy God was exiting the smite.
The best teammate a team could ever ask for is your high ground turret. Lots of damage, as well as the ability to tank the front line. It's the teammate you could always ask for, and the best friend you wish you had. And that friend has definitely been on the side of Upsla thus far, securing themselves a defense, as well as allowing them to take another objective they secured there. Believe it or not, 4th tower of the game, tier 1 in the mid lane.
This is them getting back into it. The fact that One Trick wasn't able to take down that tower there was actually huge. All those deaths would have been worth it if they could have secured the high ground. Now, God is in a position he's going to solo out this Abyssal Dragon, but we've seen this team stumble on this exact position before, trying to do too much at once here. And it looks like, oh, the Abyssal Dragon might actually... No, they are able to secure that, so that's big there. One Trick maybe could have gone in there, but Flowery might be the target if he's not careful. He's hyper mobile, but he still needs to respect his opponents.
So now, as we get ourselves in a situation of the battling broads, Upsla and One Trick find themselves 2,000 gold apart. One Trick is in the lead with the high ground turret in the bottom side down to a sliver of health. This is a very important moment for Upsla. If they can defend this turret again and secure themselves a kill, they are back in this game. However, with 2 high ground turrets below 25%, 1 below 10%, all One Trick has to do is take down one of them. Upsla recognizes this. They try to fight, but Zelf deletes God from the game.
God on an awkward flank gets picked off there. Not ideal. All the while, Wonder Woman is pushing in on the Slayer side as well. Zelf getting quite low, but it is now Zaxia looking to push in, try and reset the engagement. The high ground tower is going to fall here for the side of Upsla. They're just not on the same page. Zelf on the flank just cannot make it happen.
Just like that, One Trick recognizes we don't need to fight. We don't need to force this initiative. Let's take what we know is important, and those are objectives. 2 high ground turrets are down, and God was turned DED as Zelf deleted him immediately before the fight even began.
Yes, that was a solid pickup there. I said could not make it happen, but I was thinking about the side of Upsla there, not able to find that flank, able to find that rotation. The Cricknack just shutting it down beautifully there. And I'm just so shocked because that was their moment. That was their opportunity. But One Trick perfectly answering this. I am so impressed with this squad. Both of these teams are playing well, but One Trick just looks to be one step ahead.
But this is where their compositional strength is also playing in their favor. 2 tanks versus 1 tanks, despite the strength of a Murad as well as a Kilgroth, does not work when you have such beefy frontliners as a Bruticus as well as a Valor. Skirmishes work in your favor, but the full 5v5s don't necessarily float as such. One Trick prioritizing these teamfight positionings well, definitely an improvement from week number 3.
Definitely an improvement here, but both of these squads are not playing like teams who played in relegation this Saturday. They are coming out looking solid here. Dual Spiral is going to look to start to lay out these skill shots. His Axe is going in, finding the knock up there. Bruticus as well. It's going to try and look to get in position to drop down the ult there, get that damage reduction in, but someone needs to step forward. I'm looking at Valor. I'm looking at the rest of the side here as they are pushing in onto this bottom tower as well, getting the minions lined up. This is what they need to be doing.
It's like as if you talked about this before, all the waves crashing at the exact same time, that happening immediately. It's a 5v3 on the bottom side of the map. The 2 carries, Murad as well as L'Oreal, aren't even in the fray. They're going to have to be forced to back away. Zelf, meanwhile, was trying to push onto the top side of the map. Dark Slayer spawns in 18 seconds. One Trick says, you know what, we've got ourselves a lead. There's no reason to push up ahead. They're going to just back up and acquire the buff.
That looks like the play here, but if I'm the side of Upsla, I don't want to let that happen, and God and crew are not going to let them get this for free. They're pushing up here into the lane as well. This is massive, so look at Flowery and crew. Look, I want them to actually keep this minion alive. Andy God, please don't kill that. That is not what they need to do right now as the Dark Slayer spawn. But God, once again, stepping way too far forward, instantly deleted, once again caught out from his team. He may look to try and survive here, though. They're going to try and deny him, and that is the... No! Sorry, 1 second longer, but that is going to be the kill. Once again, God caught out way from the rest of the team, and that's actually massive. That might very well be the game.
And what an even better decision to secure themselves that quick little kill is not to push in to the 4 members that are still left alive on Upsla. Back yourself up, get yourself a level of efficiency, and what is that efficiency? Indeed, it is the Dark Slayer bush, which is by and large the nail in the coffin. One Trick, 1 core away from securing themselves a Game 1 victory. Well, there's only 1 core, so, you know, the one and only core.
The one and only core here in game number 1 as they're pushing in with minions crashing in across the board as they're pushing onto the core. Forget even trying to fight. Let's just take down the core. And with that, it's going to be GG. Game number 1 going over the way of One Trick. They are looking so solid here in this NA quarterfinal.